In this video, we're going to discuss the data validation options of the dialog component. Data validation is obviously crucial to any application where you're collecting data from a user, and the dialog component offers a very rich set of validation options. So let's go ahead here and start typing in some data. I'll type in Smith over there and alpha over there, and then I'll move to the state field and type in a invalid state, and then I'll go there and type in an invalid zip code, and then I'll hit the submit button. So you can see now that the data has been validated, and then the fields with errors are indicated. If I put my mouse over the icon, I can see what the actual error message is. So this one says that first name is required. This one says that the last name can't be Smith. Obviously, in this case, this is a somewhat arbitrary and silly rule, but it demonstrates the point. Here you can see here that this is not a valid state, and here we see that the zip code cannot contain letters. And then we also have another rule over here, again another silly and arbitrary rule, but that demonstrates a point. We've said that the only valid name if company is alpha, and in fact company is alpha, is John Jones, and the name here is not John Jones. So this demonstrates the fact that there are two different types of validation rules in the grid component. There are field level validation rules. So these errors over here are all defined by field level rules, and when a field level validation rule occurs, the error message is displayed right next to the field that's in error. But when a dialog validation rule occurs, which is this error over here, the error is displayed at the top of the dialog in an error box. So the topics that we're going to discuss in this video are the difference between field validation and dialog validation, which we've just seen, the different methods by which you can create field validation rules, when the validation rules are actually evaluated, whether they're done client-side or server-side, whether the dialog can be submitted even if a client-side validation rule has already been detected. Then we're going to discuss various options for dialog validation, various styles for displaying the error messages, validation policy, which is whether you validate only the fields that the user touched or all fields. And then lastly, we're going to discuss validating data in repeating sections. So let's go now back to the builder and see how these various validation rules were all defined. So let's go back now to the builder, and we'll go now to controls, and let's look now at the first field. So as you recall, the error message for first field was that first name was required, and that error message appeared right next to the field, so therefore it's a field validation error. And you can see here that validation rules for a field can be defined using Xbasic, or can be defined declaratively by just defining a set of rules. So you can see here that the rules for a character field are that the field is required, and then here's our custom error message, and then we can define a whole bunch of additional rules, like is it valid to put numbers or special characters, etc. Into the field value. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK now. Then you can see here, for example, for the last name field, we've defined rules both using the declarative method. So we've said that last name is required, but what we've also done is use Xbasic, and on the Xbasic side we've said that if the last name is Smith, then send back this error message that says that the last name cannot be Smith. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video.